Hi there guys, my name's Craig from Slightly Unusual. On this week's vlog, I'm going to talk to you about the dangers of hiring a cheap entertainer for your wedding. So, if you're getting married, congratulations, that's absolutely brilliant. Let me ask you a question, are you thinking about the entertainment? Because you know what, a lot of brides and grooms, they don't think about the entertainment. They think about the dress and they think about the venue, and that's important. But you know what, it's just as important to think about the entertainment as well. Bridal Magazine, they did a survey in 2017. They surveyed over 5,000 brides. It turns out 78% of brides said looking back at their wedding, they wish they'd spent more money in entertainment. Because when it's all said and done, people don't remember the colour of the chair covers or whether there were fizzy cola bottles on the sweet stand. What they remember are the memories and experiences that are created throughout the day and into the evening. And the entertainment's a huge part to play with that. It's the thing that gets everybody to remember your wedding. Think about all the weddings that you've been to. Do you go a month later and turn around to the bride and go, you know what, I really love those fizzy cola bottles? Or do you talk about the entertainment that you saw and the way it made you feel? So if you can kind of accept that the entertainment's really important, the next thing that you now have to consider is what entertainment to get for your wedding. Well, this blog is all about the dangers of hiring cheap wedding entertainment. Because when you start looking into hiring entertainers, you're going to find that there's some cheap entertainers and there's some really expensive entertainers, and there's going to be some that are kind of in the middle. And you're probably going to think, well, why not go for the cheap one? You know, if there's somebody that's offering the same thing and it's hundreds of pounds less, why not just go for that person? You know, it's human nature to do that. But there are a lot of dangers of hiring a cheap entertainer for your wedding. And in this vlog, I'm going to talk about the 5 big dangers that you're going to face if you book a cheap entertainer. So number 1, they might not turn up. Have you ever heard the horror stories about somebody who's hired entertainers and they haven't turned up? Well, I'll tell you, at our head office here, we get phone calls all the time from brides and grooms a month before their wedding, 2 months before their wedding. We've even had it a couple of days before their wedding where they tell us that they've been let down and they desperately need some entertainment. You don't want to be in that situation. Organising a wedding is already stressful enough. But if you hire a cheap entertainer, you have to understand something about cheap entertainers. Normally, they've got a full-time job and they just go out and they entertain on the weekend. And what they do is they charge a lot less than everybody else because they just want to get the gig in. They just want to get something in their diary. But what they'll do is if a better gig comes off or a more local one or one that they think's better or pays more money, they'll take that and they'll drop you like a bad habit. Now, I'm not saying every entertainer does that, and I'm generalizing a little bit here, but I see a lot of people being let down, and without fail, it's always by the entertainers that are charging less. It's a big issue that you need to consider. Number 2, they might not be very good. You know, it's the old expression, you get what you pay for. And it really is the case. You get what you pay for. If you're going out and you're buying yourself a car and, you've got 2 options. You've got a £100 second-hand car that's been passed down through generation to generation, or a brand new car that you're spending £10,000 on. There's a very good chance the brand new car is going to be the better option. Yes, you're paying more, but you're paying for that car to be reliable and probably not break down. Well, it's the same with entertainment. You can go and look for a wedding singer, and a wedding singer could charge you £1,000, and you could have another wedding singer that would charge you £100. What's the difference? Well, one of the big differences is the entertainer that's charging a lot less might not be very good. Because if they are good, why are they charging so cheap? If they are absolutely the best in the business, they would probably be charging more, because as you get good and as you get fantastic feedback and as you get a great reputation, you end up charging more and more and more, or you end up putting yourself into the same price bracket as the other entertainers that are really good as well. You have to consider that if somebody's charging really, really cheap prices, it's normally because they're not as good as the people that are charging more. You get what you pay for. Number 3, their equipment might be substandard. Terrible. They might have terrible equipment. You know, when you're charging higher prices, a lot of the time what entertainers will do is they'll invest that money back into their brand. They want their brand to be absolutely brilliant. They want their equipment to be brilliant. They want you to be in awe of everything they do from the second that they walk in through the door. A perfect example for this is DJs. I was a guest at a wedding a few months ago, and the bride and groom were telling me that they booked a wedding entertainer a wedding DJ all night for £50. Well, when I turned up and I looked at this DJ, he didn't even have a booth. He had a table that he'd thrown a tablecloth over, and then all he had was like like a couple of cheap lights that you can get from Maplin's and one speaker plugged into it, and he was running everything off Spotify on a phone. Now you compare that to a DJ that charges maybe £500 or £600 or £700 or whatever, and you're going to have a really nice booth, you're going to have laser lights, you're going to have LED screens with your name over it. You know, you're only going to do this once. There's a very good chance you're not going to get married twice. So you want everybody to go, wow. You want the wow factor at your wedding. I can pretty much guarantee you that if you book a DJ that's £50, he's going to look terrible compared to the DJ that's £400 or £500. It's the same with singers, it's the same with bands, it's the same with illusionists. You want to hire somebody who's got the money to invest back into their product. Number 4, if you're a cheaper act, you probably don't really care too much about paperwork or about the legalities of stuff that you will have to or you should actually have in place. So a couple of examples is anybody who's supplying sound equipment, whether it be a band or a singer or a DJ, they need to have a PAT certificate. It stands for Portable Appliance Testing. It's not a legal requirement, but most venues insist that you have this certificate. It basically just says that your equipment is safe to be plugged in, any portable equipment. I've met DJs who haven't actually got one of these. I've actually been at a wedding where the DJ got turned away because he couldn't produce a PAT certificate and they had no DJ. You know, and then there's stuff like insurance. Most venues will insist that you have at least £5 million in public liability insurance. And I've met performers, I've met entertainers, I've met magicians that haven't got public liability insurance, which A, they should have it, but B, not only should they have it, it protects you in case there's any problems. You know, you've got to ask yourself a question. Do you want to take the risk of hiring somebody that's not compliant with these certificates and this stuff that they need to have in order to perform at your event? You can pretty much guarantee that if you hire someone who's charging more money, they are going to have this stuff in place. Number 5, generally as a rule, an entertainer who's charging more money will have more respect for your guests. If you've hired somebody that has charged £100 and they're coming along to sing a few songs, you know, they might not look the part, they might not act the part. I've actually heard about brides and grooms who hired a singer that was about £150. He's famous on the circuit. He hired a singer that was about £150 for like 4 hours, and he got drunk before he went and did his set and got into a fight with some of the guests at the wedding. I mean, come on, seriously? That's somebody who doesn't take his business seriously. You know what? If you hire somebody who's charging more money, their reputation is the single most important thing to them. So what they'll do is they'll spend time and effort on making sure that their brand and their reputation is absolutely on point, and that includes making sure that they do an awesome job and are an ambassador for you and your wedding. Look, here's the thing. At the end of the day, you have options when you hire your entertainment at your wedding. You can hire somebody cheap, you can hire somebody expensive, but the thing that you need to understand is this is the most important day of your life. And you know what? It's a stressful thing to organise, but if you've decided that you are going to have entertainment, I seriously encourage you to try and look at all the different entertainers and make a list of all of the entertainers that are charging really cheap prices, all the entertainers that are charging really expensive prices, and everything in between. And then look at the pros and cons and look at what they will do for the price and have a chat with them and look at show reels, and you'll see a difference. And then you need to ask yourself a question. If this is the most important day of your life and entertainment is so important to your wedding, you know, perhaps maybe you need to spend a little bit more money on the entertainment than you would do than just going and hiring that £100 entertainer. But really, it's up to you. I just wanted to, in this blog, highlight, or in this vlog, I wanted to highlight the dangers of hiring a cheap entertainer. Anyway, if you'd like to speak to me or one of the team here at Slightly Unusual about us being at your wedding, we'd love to chat to you. You know, we do everything from close-up magic at weddings all the way up to large-scale grand illusion shows where we can saw the bride in half, saw the groom in half, float the bride up in the air. Whatever you want, we can make happen. So if you want to speak to us about that, whether it's close-up magic or a large-scale stage show, you know, you can give us a call on 0333 301 3001, or alternatively, just go on our website at www.slightlyunusual.co.uk and just fill in the contact form on the wedding page, and we'll get back to you within an hour. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, because we put loads of live performances of us performing at weddings, and it's something that you might want to check out. So hit subscribe, and guys, I'll be back next week with another vlog, and thank you very much for listening. My name's Craig from Slightly Unusual.